This is the Midlife Launch podcast with your host, your coach, and your Sherpa, Kingsley Grant. And it's been a while since I have sat behind this microphone and brought you an episode to this podcast. The last episode I brought was at the end of August, I believe it was, when I talked about, if you remember, pivoted about the idea of moving away from this location to another location. It's been a really very up and down last 2 months or thereabouts. I have gone back and forth on my ideas. I've been really struggling to see what is the best route I should take. If you remember, I was very clear that I was going to move away completely from this podcast and just kind of let it rest and become an evergreen podcast, because I felt that I had kind of reached a point where I didn't have much more to say, or I wasn't bringing as much value. And how do I know that? Well, it was based upon the numbers, the statistics, the downloads, the engagement. And I believe that one of the ways that if I'm serving you in a manner that you are being helped, then if I don't hear from you, I really don't know how well my service is. And as you can imagine, for any podcaster, any person that is in media that's trying to communicate truth or connect with a certain kind of audience, they really are looking for some kind of reciprocity. I can't even say that word sometimes. Reciprocity that tells them that they're really connecting. So I have gone through a number of ideas. Actually, I recorded a podcast episode following the last one, explaining what I've done, where you would find me, and all of those things. And I still could not pull the trigger on posting that episode because I wasn't sure I was done. I felt that there's something more I could do here. And so for the last few weeks, I've been going back and forth and have hired a coach in the meantime and been working through some of my other issues, what it is I am doing. And by the way, if you've not ever hired a coach before, let me encourage you. This is not my first coach. This is not my second. I have had a number of coaches throughout the years who have helped me tremendously. And now here's what, this is so cool because I'm going to get into what I want to share with you about this, where I'm going with this episode, because I want to give you an update, an announcement. So this is an update, but also an announcement that will be made in a few moments. But I'll go back to the idea of coaching. What I have also been doing in the interim is building my coaching practice. What I have developed is really what I give high-performing leaders or career professionals who are in transition, who want to get some clarity and perspective and might want to find out what their next step is. What I began to do is offer a 90 minutes of what I call this clarity discovery coaching, a powerful clarity discovery coaching session. So it's a powerful clarity and discovery coaching session for 90 minutes. No obligation. All it is to see that if we are a good fit, if you're getting value from that 90 minutes and feel like you want some more, then we'll talk about what's next. But in the meantime, I want to make this offering. Now, here's the thing. I don't have that much space because obviously I have other events or other things I have on my calendar, which I do, and this is just a small portion of that. So if you are interested in that and you want to take me up, then at the end of this episode, I'll give you how to connect with me and to make that happen. Okay? So I hope I remember to mention that. I think I will, because it's going to be a very short episode, I believe, in comparison to many of my other episodes. So here's what happened. My going back and forth, I was thinking, what was missing from the midlife launch for me? Well, I don't think anything was missing per se. What I felt is, in talking to a number of people, with my coach, with others who are in accountability groups and mastermind, I think that what I came up on as far as where I possibly felt the need for a change was that I've been in the launch stage, the midlife launch, and now it's time to show what has been launched. Now, a number of things I have done since this last episode, because I'm co-hosting a show with my friend Bill Griggs from CNC Router Tips, and he and I co-host a show. It's called Podcast by Friday, that comes out every Friday, and we talk about what it is to do to get your podcast up and running, a minimum viable podcast in a very short period of time by Friday. So it could be a week or it could be 2 weeks, but anyway, the point is that by Friday it implies a short period of time, and we discuss all that you would need to do that. So if you want to go hop on over there and listen to our show, please be my guest. It's podcastbyfriday.com. I also have launched a new podcast that I do as a solo podcast called Success Caribbean Style, where I interview Caribbean immigrants who have migrated from their homeland into another country, and in that country have overcome obstacles and experienced some measure of success. And I interview them and talk about their journey, their migration's journey, what success they have achieved, and then I capture lessons learned, what would they have done differently, and what are they working on. And so that show is geared towards people in the Caribbean, for Caribbean people, about Caribbean people, and by Caribbean people. So that's what another show I've been doing on a weekly basis. That show goes out on Monday mornings at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I had that show going out. So you can also go and listen to that show, Success Caribbean Style. So I've been doing, it's not like I've not been doing anything, but this show has been on my heart. This is one of my baby right here. And I realize there's much more work to be done. The more I talk to people, the more I kind of listen in online, social media, and comments being made, I realize there's something more to be done. And so over a period of time, I've been talking and, as I mentioned before, coaching and mentoring, and my accountability partner, Bill Griggs, and my mastermind groups. And I've been just really throwing the idea out for some help. And what I've settled on is this. I'm going to continue this show, but a little bit different. So this episode and the next episode is kind of setting the stage for where I am going. I'm going to continue the show, but I'm going to pivot. I'm not going to stop the show, but it's going to have a different name, which I think I may announce in this episode, or I may hold off until the next episode. Well, I think I'll announce in this episode, and then I'll tell you more about what that would look like in the next episode 208. So this is 209. This is episode 208. So in 209, I'll talk more about what the new podcast format will be for this show. So, as I said before, I have been thinking and praying and coaching and counseling and masterminding and accountability in all of that. And what I find is I need to continue this, but do so from a launch stage, having launched something, and help people still who are in the midlife years of life. I would say my average year will be 43 years old. So it's 37 to 57, right? And if you do the math, what's that? That's 94, right? 57 and 37 is 94. Half of that is 47. But I want to go for the 43 mid-range, 43 years old, average. Okay, the mean average. But it's from 37 to 57 years old is my target audience. That's you. Okay, that's you. And what I want to do is talk about what it really means to transition into something you love. And not just a launch, but step by step, and interviews, solo shows, but I want to come from a framework of my authenticity, myself. I want to use who I am fully invested into the show, meaning that I'll be speaking about my physical condition, my intellectual or my mental condition, my emotional condition, my spiritual condition, and my social condition. And I wanted to use that to constantly show where I am in my journey and possibly resonate with where you are. Because I believe in any of those 5 domains, right? Physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and social. And I want to add one more. It's financial. So it's 6. I want to kind of infuse in my episodes those aspects of our being where you are, where I am. And I'm going to hone in a bit deeper in my spiritual framework, because that's my point of reference. And I want to talk about that to some degree, not to preach at anyone, not to try to convert anyone, which I wish that would happen in the process. And I'm not going to be apologetic about that. However, my goal would be to show why I think the way I think. Why is my outlook on life the way it is? What's my hope? Where's my inspiration coming from? Those are the things I want to speak about in the light of also career transition. I'll be doing some coaching on the show. I'll be doing interviews I mentioned before and solo shows. But I want you to get incredible value from the show. And so I want to just tell you now, what will the show be called? Right now, I have settled on a name. And the name, here it go, drum roll. Bad kind of drum roll. That's no drum roll you were saying. I get it. It's just something. The new show is going to be called Smooth Career Change. Smooth Career Change. And what that implies is how to transition into a career that you feel that you've been called to. It's everything about you. It's what you love to do. Now, career could be business. It's just a shift from what it is you've been doing and you no longer have an excitement for, because there's something is tugging on your heart. I call it a song of your heart is tugging, and you want to do that and actually make an impact in the world. So let me give you what I came up with as who it is this pivot will be focused on. It's helping career professionals, which is you, who are in transition, discover how to share and monetize your expertise and experience so that you can do what you love while making a difference in your world. That is who it is, you, that I'm going after. And it's very clear. The key person, if I was to talk about avatar or my ideal person, would be that 43-year-old individual, mainly a male, because I'm a man. I can relate more to that. However, it's for a career professional in that stage of life who can relate. That is where I'm going in that show. And so I'm working on the back pieces right now of what that is going to look like, what the first show is going to look like. And I will going to continue. So it will be, instead of saying toast themidlifelaunch.com/208, for example, I would say smoothcareerchange.com/208 or 209 or thereabouts. Okay, so you will see like I label this show TML, that's the Midlife Launch. Whenever you see this show is labeled SCC, you know the shift has occurred. And I'm just updating you on what's happening, where I'm going, and where I'm at. I recently attended a Brendon Burchard event in San Jose, California. That's in, and for those who are listening who are outside the United States, of course, that's in the United States. And Brendon Burchard, if you never heard about him, you can look him up. You can find his name on the internet, Google his name, and you see what he's all about. But that cat is, his guy is act together. Man, that brother is bad. Now, bad is not implied bad, is that he's got his game. He is about business. He knows how to put an event on. About 800 of us were at this event. And the whole point of that was sharing with us about creating frameworks and how to get our message, tighten our message, how to connect with our audience, and a number of things. And I'll share more of that as time goes by. But it's at that event, while I was sharing in small groups about what it is I want to do, it began to come right back to this is the area. Because every time I share with people, I talk about reinvention. I talk about what it means to reinvent yourself, transition, change, and all of that, because that's my story. And so I figured this is where I'm supposed to be. Hence, from that event, I kind of went back and forth on some different names. I went back and forth with names including reinvention, reinvent, transition. And this is part of the process. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. It's going back and forth and be okay, because we don't get it right the first time. And I'm just looking at my book right here, my notebook, and in one page I have about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 different name ideas. I mean, actually 12 different name ideas I wrote down. And then I asked different people what their thoughts were. I wanted to hear from them, and I explained what it was that I wanted to do. And I know what it is I wanted to speak about to you who are thinking about a low-risk entry point. You are at a stage of your life where you don't want to risk too much because you're thinking that you would have to make up too much ground in a short period of time. You also are at a point where you feel like this may be the last main shift you might make, and as a career, and really focus in on that and go all in and make a difference in your world, leaving a legacy. So when I think about all of that, I'm thinking, well, what might be a good word to capture that? So I thought about low risk, okay, a low risk approach. I thought about easy. I thought about, I thought about, yeah, I did talk about it too. I thought about the idea of, reinvention, made easy, all of those things. And what happened is I said, well, I was speaking to my friend Bill Griggs, and we were going back and forth. He's my accountability partner, and we're talking back and forth. And he was like, just kind of brain dump. And by the way, if you don't have somebody who you can talk to and really kind of get some feedback from, let me encourage you to find somebody, because it's important to do so. And while we were brainstorming and brain dumping, he just said something. He said, "What about smooth career?" And I'm saying, that's it. That word smooth came. It was so smooth, right? I said, yeah, people want to transition smoothly. They want less hiccups, less drama, less problems. They want a smooth as possible transition. The word easy could also be used, but easy means that it implies it's easy, and it's not. It's not easy. It's not an easy decision. Low risk, yes. But I think of low risk means like, low risk insurance, low risk this, low risk. So that was also a part of my thought process. But smooth seemed to grab what it is. How can I smoothly transition from where I am into what I want to do, what I love, and monetize that without taking too much risk? That was the essence, and I believe the word smooth career change captured that. I'll talk more about that at some other point of keyword search that I did and why I ended up with career change rather than career transition. So I just wanted to update you on where I am, what's going on, and what it is I've been wrestling with lately, and why you have not had an episode. Actually, I put it on pause because my last episode mentioned I was going to pause it with the idea of moving to another location. But during the interim, I've been thinking about this, and I'm thinking, you know what? This is what I want to do. This is where I am. This is my heart. And I want to be able to work with and coach people like you who are in this stage, having gone through it myself and still I'm in it. I believe I've developed a model that can be helpful. Okay, in the next episode, I'll share more about the model. I've used the word smooth to talk about a framework from which I'm going to operate. I mentioned about the word, about the physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual, and social, and add financial to that. But I want to also add a framework around the word smooth. And I'll share more about that with you in the next episode. So here's what I'm asking you to do. This is going to be very helpful. I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your thoughts are on what I shared. Maybe you are where I am at. Maybe you too are struggling because you feel like you're pulling away from something, but something keeps on pulling you back and you don't know how to get back or what you need to do. I could possibly help you with that. But I want to hear from you. So if you're going to leave a comment, either in the show notes, the comments at the end of the show notes, as a short show notes at themidlifelaunch.com/208, or you can go on themidlifelaunch.com/iTunes and leave a rating and a review there as well. It's another way for me to find out what you're saying and help me get where I'm at. So, or you could also email me if you want to be more direct. Email me at podcast@themidlifelaunch.com. podcast@themidlifelaunch.com. Okay, so I've given you a different ways to connect with me. I'd love to hear from you, or you can just tweet me right now. Tweet me at Kings of Grant. So it's KINGSLEYGRANT, and use the hashtag TML208. TML208. And just if you want to just tweet me there, I'll be more than happy to engage with you on Twitter. And that might be easier and faster if you chose that. So I've given you the email, podcast@themidlifelaunch.com, the show notes at themidlifelaunch.com/208, or tweet me. Just send me a Twitter at Kingsley Grant. Okay? With that said, my friend, and I just say to you, hey, peace out, God bless, and I'll see you on the flip side.